Get in the know. Nonstop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com. Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company.
But no, I've been kind of chuckling to myself driving home because I say, we can play so much better. We have played so much better, but there were games where we would lose, and I'd drive home and I'd say, I don't know that I can play a lot better. Like, that's about as good as I can do, and we lost. And then these games this year, a lot of times it's been, man, thanks to the defense, thanks to the special teams, thanks to turnovers, thanks to our run game, thanks to whatever, we're winning. But, man, I can play a lot better.
Ow. Let's put a pin in that for a second. We'll circle back to that. Enlightened Kirk Cousins. It's kind of a loosey-goosey version of Kirk Cousins there. This is Purple Daily. Speaking of loosey-goosey, Mackie, Judd, our executive producer, Declan over there, and we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die, which is what we tell you every single day. Starting 6-1, not a bad way to pave a path to a Super Bowl. You got to start somewhere in the regular season. The show is presented by our friends at TCL. Redefine creativity with the TCL 30V 5G smartphone. Enjoy blazing fast 5G speed, an AI-powered 50-megapixel triple camera system. That's right.
Football.
Ultra-realistic, true-to-life visuals powered by Next Vision and booming sound from the dual speakers. Learn more at TCL.com. And we're counting down the days here. We're just, 3 days away from the next Purple Daily Surly Watch Party and live vent line at First Round inside Mall of America, Judd.
If you want to drink from this glass, First Round glass.
The chalice.
And then, but you want to fill it up with this, Before I Die, from our friends at Surly, then you want to be with us, joining us for our Ventline Surly Watch Party, as Phil just said, at First Round, Sunday, Mall of America. So we're all going to be nice and warm this time. First floor in the mall, right inside Nickelodeon Universe by, I believe it's Dex Legoland, correct?
Yep, big Legoland guy.
So we will be spending the day there, noon kickoff, talking Vikings, drinking plenty of Furious, Before I Die, Logic Bombs, and then post-game, vent line kicks in, and if you're there, we'll certainly have a mic for you to ask some questions and comment as well. It's going to be a fun day of watching Viking football. Again, Mall of America, free parking, easy access, first floor, and First Round, super cool sports bar. So join us and enjoy a fun day of Vikings and Commanders.
Yes, we'd love to see as many of you as possible. This is the State of the Offense edition of Purple Daily. Every single Thursday, we go and do a deep dive into different offensive trends, kind of where are things at. So we'll get to the overall snapshot in a bunch of categories. But, one of my personal biggest criticisms of Kirk Cousins has been just his lack of admitting when he isn't doing his job at a good enough level, or he's very much been I just work here guy in the way that he sort of goes about his business the first few years of his Vikings career. Mm-hmm. Whether it's like, hey, the coach calls the timeouts, or, well, we'll have, he throws a pick and it's always like, well, we'll have to kind of go look at the film and see what happened there, as opposed to just owning the things that are bad and maybe deflecting. Not that he never took credit for people, but he had a hard time, I think, just owning the things that he wasn't doing well for years and years. And I don't love that kind of leadership. I think that's part of the reason why I've criticized his leadership. That clip, this is middle of the season. He's got a hooded sweatshirt on. He's got his new head coach that empowers him, but also doesn't, publicly crucify him when he makes a mistake. That's probably the most candid we've heard him in terms of, he did say, there's times last year where we'd lose games and felt like I was playing pretty perfectly, which we could probably debate that. But for him to say, yeah, I can play a lot better this year, and it's the other things around me that are really elevating this thing. It just feels like he's much more free to be himself and to, I guess, be a leader under Kevin O'Connell, which shouldn't be that surprising, I suppose.
So I sniffed around about this a little bit because the change to me has been striking. And Kirk is not going to come out and say, I'm a different guy. No question. I've changed completely. But I was asking around about this change because it might be in some ways subtle, but in some ways it is big. Basically, and this makes perfect sense. What I was told was, I think that there was a fear on Kirk's part previously with Mike and that coaching staff here that anything he said was going to be interpreted wrong, and so he tried to say nothing. And he was afraid to basically throw himself under the bus, because I think in his mind that would have only been providing ammunition for people who were already not big fans of Kirk Cousins. In this case, that fear is gone. And so he can basically say, yeah, you know what? Things statistically might not be great, but we're winning games. And so, yeah, I think the big step here is Kirk, for the first time in 4+ years here, correct, finally feels the freedom to be himself. And I'll go back to saying it's not like I think he's turned into Brady in his prime as far as that goes. I mean, Kirk Cousins is never going to be an alpha type of personality, but I love the fact that it appears he's very comfortable now being him. And just to be clear here, so I think behind the scenes previously, he was not nearly as afraid to be himself with teammates. So I think largely what we're seeing publicly is the biggest change. Mm-hmm. So I think his teammates who he was friends with have known this guy for quite some time. I think what's more important now, though, is he knows if, when his quotes show up in the media, that they're not going to be interpreted incorrectly or provide ammunition for people that don't like him to pile on him.
Yep. And of course, I always had an issue with the idea that, we're talking about a bunch of grown men that make millions of dollars, and this idea a lot of fans had that, like, well, the coach has his thumb on everyone. Well, Bill Belichick has his thumb on everyone, and Tom Brady, as a great leader, found ways to make it his team, right? Or Pat Mahomes, and great leaders kind of just rise up, and Kirk's not that. But the fact that Kirk, I think, is emerging into the best version of whatever he can be on that front is very telling here, and it is one of the biggest highlights of the coaching change. Just Kirk feels a freedom, I think, to. It's okay. You don't have to be paralyzed by the fact that you're not playing your best football necessarily in the first couple months. The team is doing well, and there's room for you. There seems to be just almost like an exhale factor from Kirk here that maybe didn't exist under Mike Zimmer. Some of this dovetails into the state of the offense categories too, so maybe we should just get right into it, if you guys would
Meat
like.
and potatoes, state of the offense, baby.
Let's start with the overall snapshot of where the Vikings rank offensively in 4 key categories. Mm-hmm. Now, the goal has been this should be a top 10 offense, right? You got wide receivers, you got one of the 12 to 15 best quarterbacks in the world. Maybe sometimes he's fringe top 10. You got Dalvin Cook, your offensive line's better. You're scheming better than you have in several years. So the goal going into the season, at least as set by us, was, can this be a top 10 offense, top 10 scoring offense? Boys, I have breaking news for you.
Okay.
As of last week's games, for the first time all season, the Minnesota Vikings have a top 10 scoring offense. They are 9th in the league in points per game.
Hold on a second. No one warned me. Stella, where's the flag? Bring it back here. All right, here we go. We got it. Thank you. Good job. Here's your Nutrisource. There we go.
We have arrived. We have arrived.
We got it.
Into the top 10.
Number 9.
No, got to sustain it. Ideally, maybe you climb higher, but the Vikings are 9th in points per game. They are 15th in yards per play, 11th in pro football or in Football Outsiders DVOA advanced metric, and 12th in expected points added advanced metric. But in terms of points, so they're fringed, between 10 and 15 in these other ones. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, they are a top 10 scoring offense going into this week's game against the Commanders.
And they just bypassed 10. They basically said, screw 10. We'll take 9.
I think they were like 13th. I think they jumped from 13th to 9th.
Like 13th or 14th, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So
and it wasn't like they had an outburst offensively last week. So
scoring's down still, correct?
Yeah, there must have been some teams within like the fringe of the top 10 that just had terrible offensive performances or something. So, but this is, I don't think anyone expected the offense to be perfectly honed in the first month of the season. So coming out of the bye week, this would be the time now to start making hay. Whatever your offense is supposed to look like, and now you've added T.J. Hawkinson. Probably need to give him a couple weeks to get up to speed, but top 10 offense.
I was watching some film last night, though. T.J. Hawkinson film. This has potential.
Oh, yeah?
This has real potential.
What was your favorite thing that stood out watching T.J. Hawkinson film?
The yak is going to be substantial.
Yak.
He's not fast, but if this makes sense, he has moves. So, like, his foot speed's not great, but he has moves, and he can 100% turn the corner. I'm going to tell you right now, to go back to the play that we dissected, talked about in depth, it was great yesterday. On that, I think it was 3rd and 10, and Irv got 8. He gets about 14.
Yeah.
He's got the ability. If you watch his film, he's not going to break away. So he's not going to go to the house on yak. But what he is going to do is he can catch the ball, plant, and turn, which is
He's
actually
also
a
tough
skill.
to bring down, right? He's just
Yes. Very much so. He's strong.
I feel like I've seen many T.J. Hawkinson catches where there's just like 3 guys hanging off of his arm and his leg, and
I'm going to
he's
say
6'5", like 255 pounds or something.
Yeah, and I'm going to say something, and I mean it as praise. I feel like he is Rudolph in his prime, but is harder to get. So it felt like Kyle got some yak in his prime, but I also felt like he sometimes got tackled a little bit prematurely. Hawkinson will get tackled before he breaks away completely, but that doesn't stop him from picking up 15 yards.
Yeah,
Which is
that makes sense. And,
huge thing.
And Kyle, there's an alternate universe in which didn't Kyle tear hamstrings in college too, and
came off the bone.
Ugh. But, what would his career look like with just maybe
this is a good
little bit more of a speed burst there? But yeah, that makes sense.
Kirk's gonna love this.
All right, category number 1. Speaking of Kirk, so I'm going to give you guys some different categories of offensive trends, and we will do deep dives into them. And the first category is called Colossus of Clutch. And the executive summary is Kirk Cousins is learning how to play the game late in halves.
Oh, yeah.
Time to play the game. So, first 3 years as Vikings quarterback, 2018, 19, and 20. No quarterback in the NFL threw more interceptions inside 6 minutes of the first and second halves than Kirk Cousins. This made I didn't think it was that bad. I'll be honest. He threw 16 interceptions his first 3 years with the Vikings.
Wow.
In the final 6 minutes of the halves.
Wow.
He was 29th in passer rating inside 6 minutes of first and second halves. First 3 years as a Viking. Behind Nick Foles, behind Carson Wentz, behind Jameis Winston, behind the old version of Eli Manning. Mike Glennon was ahead of him in passer rating inside those minutes.
Love that neck. Great neck.
Mike Glennon. And he only had 3 fourth-quarter comebacks combined across 2018, 19, 20. So let that sink in for a second.
All right.
That's not good. And I think the eye test would have, there was just so many times where, all right, here, it's time. Here we go. It's time for the big fourth quarter comeback or the big drive before the half. And it was just fart noise, for 3 years. The last 2 years, Kirk Cousins, again, who threw 16 picks across his first 3 years as a Viking inside the final 6 minutes of the halves. Only 2 interceptions since the beginning of last year in those moments. 15th in passer rating, up from 29th in those moments. And 6 fourth quarter comebacks in a year and a half versus 3 in 3 full years, 18, 19, 20. This year specifically, Kirk Cousins is 9th in passer rating inside 6 minutes of the halves, and he has the 4th most passing first downs converted. I mean, he has taken some giant leaps when you need him, when the opposing team knows you're probably going to pass too, right? It's like late in the half. These are close games a lot of times. You're trying to put a game away at the end of the game or come back, or you're trying to get that last score before the first half ends. And measurably, he has been considerably better since the beginning of last year than his first 3 years as a Viking.
Oh,
Get
boy.
the flag.
All right, here
Get
we
the
go.
flag.
I got the flag.
The Colossus of Clutch.
I got the flag. Colossus.
The fourth quarter pharaoh.
Colossus spelled with a K, I hope.
The secondary slayer.
Got to spell it with a K.
Oh,
Colossus.
Kirky McClutcherton.
There it is.
I am the game, JR.
He's learning how to play the game
So-
at age 34. Let's get it.
So let's take those stats, which are very impressive both ways, because impressively bad for 3 years, impressively good and really good in 2022. And this is where the conversation to me, though, goes about Kirk's stats when we talk about, well, he's having a back of the football year, career down year statistically. That I don't know. Would I like him to get more comfortable, and which he continues to talk about? Absolutely. He can do more. I have no question about that. But if you were to tell me again, hey, he's going to be putting up real good back of the football card stats, or he's going to be delivering game-winning drives, to me, it's not even
GWDs. Give me the GWDs.
GWD, classic clutch. It's not even a conversation. Hold on. My arms are getting tired. I'm about to turn 53, okay? A lot to shoulder here. Oh my God! Oh, hold on. You know, I'm contractually obligated with our bosses to waive this damn thing.
It's a clause.
Every
Whenever
time
I hear Dan Seaman told me I'm out if I don't waive it at the right time. So that's to me on state of the Vikings offense where the Kirk statistical discussion is like, okay, his stats are down. He's clearly improving. They've won 6 games. But most importantly, when you needed him most, and when as you just documented, Phil, for 3 years, we knew statistically and eye test wise, he basically choked. He is now playing a key role too. It's no fluke. He is now consistently.
He's the dagger doctor, I think, is what you're trying to say.
Well, you jokingly said that a couple of years ago.
Jokingly.
You jokingly said it. You mocked it, and you weren't
Pish-posh.
wrong. And pish posh. And, this is what I will happily take, at least the combination that gets Kirk to a place where when it's late in the game or half, you don't say, oh, my God, here we go again.
You're right. I'm trying to remember when we first started calling him all these things.
It was early.
The late game luminary. It was 2020. It was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
It was
yes.
a pandemic season.
It was 2020.
Because you were still
You're
here.
still here. Yeah.
In studio
Yeah.
with that damn hat on.
Yeah. And it was yeah, I mean, it was tongue in cheek, obviously, because
The hat made the move, right? The hat's in Seattle.
Well, the hat's right here.
But the sign's not there
Oh,
anymore.
yeah. Okay.
Well, the sign it's an adjustable sign.
I mean, oh yeah, no, I know. but
I
it's
can
not
slap
on
that
there.
sign back on. But I mean, yes, it was very much tongue in cheek because we were looking back at 18, 19, 20, and like we even had data then that showed. I think we looked up at one point that if you look at last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter, trailing by 2 scores or less or tied. So basically, your team needs you. You need a touchdown or you need to come back in some form, and he was awful statistically in those situations for his career.
Right.
And so we mockingly called him the Colossus of Clutch, and rightfully so. Like, dude, you're getting paid $35 million. Your team needs you. Mm-hmm. And so the credit to him here is that he has, at age 33, 34, he's seen enough defensive looks, and now he's got the coach, at least this year. He started doing this last year, but he's got the coach now, and there's probably a couple more fourth quarter comebacks in there even this season. Like, this is the best he's been late in halves ever, and he deserves a ton of credit. And I'm with you. Now, it would be nice if he was just playing lights out across the board in all situations. He is not yet this year. But if you're going to give me, all right, he can only play lights out for a portion of the game. Right. Do you want it to be the scripted drive to start and, early in the third? Or do you want it to be in the final 6 minutes of the first and second half? I think we would all choose the high leverage point of the game is the time where you need him the most. So Amen. A credit to the dagger doctor, Kirk Cousins. All right, category number 2. This one's called offensive success rate. We've brought this up before on the show. There's a weird trend here that doesn't quite make sense. Or maybe it does, actually. But I'm going to throw this out at you guys. So success rate, as measured in the NFL, is if you get 40% of the needed yards on first down, it's a successful play. If you get 60% of yards on second down, it's a successful play. If you convert on 3rd and 4th down, it's a success. So on 3rd and 10, if you get 8 yards, it is not a successful play, statistically. If you get 10 or 11 or 20 yards, it is.
Yep.
1st down, if you run into the line of scrimmage and you get 2 yards, it would be classified by these analytics sites as a non-successful play. If you gain 4 yards or 5 yards, okay, you've moved the ball forward to put yourself in a chance on 2nd down, right? So that's the premise of this.
Okay.
The Vikings offense this season ranks 3rd in offensive success rate, behind Buffalo and Kansas City. That's incredible. However, in terms of overall expected points added, Buffalo and Kansas City are number 1 and number 2. The Vikings are 13th, as we said off the top of this segment. And so what does this mean? It means that even though it's like in baseball, all 3 of us are fighting for the batting title. We're all hitting 320, 318, 315. But Judd and Declan are also hitting 50 home runs. I have 12. That's what this means. So the Vikings are moving the chains and keeping things going and having successful plays at the 3rd highest rate in the NFL. But the difference between the Vikings, Buffalo, and Kansas City are Buffalo, Kansas City are adding these big chunk home run plays on a more regular basis. The Vikings are kind of doing the bare minimum to keep. That's why you see a lot of these like 12-play touchdown drives. How many times have the Vikings had a quick strike 3-play touchdown drive this year? Right. They only have 7 receptions of 20 yards in the air this year. So the Vikings offense is more of a methodical, long drive, short passes, move the chains, 3rd and 6, convert, whereas Buffalo, Kansas City are throwing haymakers. So that's sort of the next evolution. It's death by paper cuts versus haymakers. But this is a very good sign that schematically they're moving things along at a very, very high clip, but they need that next level of explosiveness to really reach the peak of their offense. Does that all make sense?
Yes. I mean, if you're using the batting average comparison, the Vikings are Luis Ariz and the Bills and Chiefs are Aaron Judge.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
I mean, same thing. Both of them are hitting 320. They're both clawing for the batting title. One of them is hitting home runs on every 5th, 6th at bat. And Luis Ariz, who's a very good hitter, isn't going to hit for much power, but will get on base and do all the good things there. So I think with the Vikings offense, too, Seifert had this note that they are averaging like 9 plays a touchdown drive. So it's like all their touchdown drives, to Phil's point, are long, time chunking drives that take time off the clock, but aren't big plays. You're not going to find Josh Allen's going to find Diggs for a 50-yard strike. The Vikings are going to move down the train, get in that low red zone, and then find Johnny Munt because Justin Jefferson's double covered, right? So that's fine, successful, but can you figure out a way to have more big play, whether that's with JJ, maybe it's TJ Hawkinson, Thielen, KJ Osborne, etc., because that's what probably separates the Vikings offense from the Bills or Chiefs offense.
And some people might say, well, but isn't that what you want? Like, yes, if you could just sustain and replicate 10-play touchdown drives all the time and get your defense to be fresh coming back, yes, that's amazing. I think the question is, how sustainable is that? I mean, at some point, you're going to run through several games where you're just not going to be able to put together 10 plays.
The third quarters.
Yes.
Till Sunday. That's the problem.
So you need the ability to just hit someone over the head with a big play and score a touchdown in 4 plays instead of 11.
So I've been giving this some thought, too, because we've talked about this and the lack of big strikes, which is a little bit surprising. But here's what I think part of it comes back to, and I actually think it's a compliment to what O'Connell's done. This offense clearly is not exactly what he wants yet, and it probably won't be. It probably won't be exactly what he wants for at least 2022, if not into 23, because the personnel is going to have to change somewhat to get that. And so I think what he's doing, and I think it's probably smart, is I don't think he is running his offense exactly. I think what he has done, and this is the biggest thing with Kirk, is he has said, okay, here's what Kirk can do. Here's what Kirk does well. Here's what we even have. Like, if you had another deep threat by JJ, that changes things dramatically, potentially. But we also know that Kirk doesn't exactly love to throw contested balls down the field at times. Like, there's a lot of things here. So I think where it's a compliment to O'Connell is I think he's done a very good job of marrying what he knows he can do with what he knows his personnel can do, which is incredibly smart. And for a young coach, it's very savvy not to force things. And I mean, how many new coaches in this league do we see, i.e., Childress in 2006, who come in and say, "No, this is what I do."
Yeah.
And it's like, hold on, dude. It's what you do, but you don't have the same players, guy. Yeah. The players are changing, guy. And so,
all right, fella.
I think that it's a very interesting thing, and this is also why I love the 7 games in pickup of Hawkinson. Because it also shows a willingness to try and morph and change things midstream, which football people ordinarily are very, very reluctant to. Yep. So I think there's a conversation here for down the road about what this offense becomes when it comes to big strike plays. But I also think that there is a very good sign of adjustments being made to acknowledge what you have to work with and not trying to force things that are not going to work out.
Yep. Also, in its simplest form, how many teams were game planning for Irv Smith and Johnny Mundt and these guys? Not that Irv Smith could do some damage if he got the ball, but he just wasn't really a factor. Hawkinson's the guy. He's not like Travis Kelce or George Kittle yet, but he's a guy that you have to at least watch film on and account for in your scheming defensively. Right. So to add someone else, the defensive coordinators are going to have to be like, oh man, if we don't watch out, that guy is capable of catching 8 passes for 150 yards and scoring 2 touchdowns, something he's already done this season, right? Mm-hmm. So, all right, we have 2 more offensive deep dive categories here. But you guys, the audience, you asked, and we are delivering at scorenorth.com/shop, your official Purple Daily merch store, open for a limited time. We've got the Just One Before I Die hoodies and tees. We've got Victory Monday hoodies and tees, Purple Daily and Score North swag as well. And so thanks to everyone who's already picked up some swag over the last couple of days. We appreciate you supporting us. And we just want to, you guys have been asking for some merch, and we've been kind of trying to figure out some logistics and plans behind the scenes here. And so scorenorth.com/shop for the Purple Daily lover in your life, the sports dad lover in your life.
I love it.
The link's in the YouTube bio, by the way, so you don't even have to look for it. Just right there, right in the YouTube comments section, you'll see it. Clickety click, clickbait officer.
The clickbait officer, getting you to click. Clickety click. Why don't you click on Livia.com if you want to lose weight? Livia.com.
That's
right?
Yes, exactly
clickety
right.
Click.
Click right now, because you know what happens if you click right now? You are on your way to weight loss. And imagine, it's going to get cold out ordinarily. This is the time of year when people start to gain weight. They're on the couch. The holidays are coming. And it's just like, I don't know about that. But imagine being fit, healthy, energy is back. You're active. It is this simple. My friends, Livia Weight Control Centers can help you get there. And here's the best part. First 8 weeks right now are free. Yes, I said that. First 8 weeks are free. So get off the couch, and you don't have to go to the gym and work out right now. No. Just go to your computer. Livia.com, Livea.com is the place to start. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not a diet. It's a lifestyle change, and it is so simple. I dropped 40 pounds. Here's the most important part. I am keeping the weight off. How do you do that? Well, you know what? I can't really tell you exactly, but they can. Livea, Livea.com. Your journey to weight loss starts today. Join the Purple Daily family in the success stories, because we've had many.
All right, back to the state of the offense here. Category number 3 is called shooting yourself in the foot. And the executive summary is, the Vikings don't do that very often anymore. So old Macadac here has done a deep dive. Hold on a second. All right.
Yeah, I've had
a deep.
We're all doing that. We literally, all 3 of us are doing that right now.
It's amazing what's going around.
Everyone's
going around
got
the country these days. Yeah, I feel like I've had a variation of it for about 3 weeks now. But so false starts, offensive holding, and sacks taken. Those are kind of 3 of the. When you're watching a football game, it's like, boy, your team is about to do something great, and then some idiot jumps early, or oh man, Holdy Udo again. That isn't happening this year, but or you take a sack and now you're in 2nd and 17 or something. So the Vikings have the second fewest combined false starts, offensive holding penalties, and sacks taken in the NFL this season, behind only the Chiefs. So I'm kind of making this stat up. We're innovating here on Purple Daily. We're going to call it the false starts, offensive holding, and sacks taken is going to be called shoot yourself in the foot statistic. And the Vikings have the second fewest shoot yourself in the foots, in the feet, in the NFL, behind only the Kansas City Chiefs. Very disciplined.
And I believe if you were to go through that statistic that you came up with from the 2021 campaign, I believe the Vikings would be near the bottom, right? I mean, it feels like they certainly were.
They weren't sacked very often last year.
Because
Cousins has gotten pretty good at that.
Their first play from scrimmage in Cincinnati was a false start.
Yeah, but the other ones, they were among the worst. Yes.
It feels like they have been aside from Sunday, I think they took 10 penalties in total on Sunday. But aside from the Cardinals game, it feels like they've been a very smart, disciplined team. And this, what this plays into as well is it plays into the cohesiveness and the improvement overall of the offensive line. Mm-hmm. Because, if you look at this line now, and knock on wood, I don't think they've missed a start yet. I think they've had that entire group through 7 games. But that being said, the discipline that this team usually shows is impressive, and it doesn't feel like they do things. Because how often in the last 2 years before this, you guys, did they get in the red zone? Like the 17, right? And sure as bleep, somebody would false start. And now you're outside of it. And I know it's not much, but now instead of 1st and 10 at the 17, it's 1st and 15, and now you're just outside. So yeah, I think this is absolutely enormous. And again, this is a large credit, in my opinion, to O'Connell. He has done a very good job for a guy who seems to really be a player's coach, which can be taken advantage of times. I think behind the scenes, it feels like to date he has run a pretty disciplined ship for this team during games.
Yeah, the offensive line in total has only committed or been flagged for 11 penalties, if I'm looking at this right. So, yeah, Bradbury's been called for 4 penalties. There was also, one of them was a taunting.
Yeah. Well.
And then I think Ed Ingram was called for a trip at one point.
He was.
So there's been a couple weird penalties in there too.
He was.
But collectively, the Vikings offense, not just the offensive linemen, but everybody, only 4 offensive holding penalties, knock on wood, through the first, 7 games of the year.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn good. So one every other game,
I like your
including
stat.
the tight ends and everyone else.
That's a good stat. That's a telling stat for discipline.
Yes. The shoots yourself in the foot stat.
Yep.
And like you said, it's Cousins doesn't take a lot of sacks. He knows how to kind of just fling the ball somewhere. He did get called, I think, for 1 grounding penalty this season, but he had one that probably should have been a grounding against the Cardinals. He just kind of just flung it, and they said, Irv Smith was 15 yards away, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah. The fumble against the Cardinals was the most concerning, old school Cousins thing.
Yeah.
You just don't.
The ball security issues. Yeah. And then, in terms of the false start, they've had 6 false starts all year. So just to have very little snap count confusion is important. And that starts with the quarterback communicating in the huddle and then at the line of scrimmage. So ultimately, you are the one running the show there. Not that you can blame the quarterback if an offensive lineman forgets or gets antsy or something all the time. But that a lot of that starts with the quarterback. So credit to Cousins for some of this. Okay, and then category number 4 here is called third down Jekyll and Hyde. According to Football Outsiders, the Vikings are the second best 3rd and short team in the NFL, but the second worst 3rd and long team. That's it. Just a weird stat. They're the second best 3rd and short team and second worst 3rd and long team.
How often are they in 3rd and long? Do you have that?
I don't have that.
Because I'd be curious. If it's just a very small sample size, then okay, that's fine.
Well, it's the same sample size as the rest of the league, I would assume. Like
third and
similar.
long being 7 yards and more.
7 or more.
Yeah, because
right?
that's a tough down then.
Here, I think
Like
I got
Well,
it.
because here I'll loop one back from the category number 2. The fact that they have one of the best success rates in the league,
Yeah.
meaning they're not finding themselves in a lot of 3rd and 12s around.
That's
here.
what I was going to say. Because, there's not really a play call that's good for 3rd and 12 or 3rd and 11.
So my thought here, real quick, is that on 3rd and short, your whole bag of tricks is open, and they're a very good run blocking team too, and so they've been able to convert. I think they're probably passing largely even on 3rd and short, just anecdotally. But obviously it's easier to convert, and then when you've got some of these weapons, and Kevin O'Connell has done a great job scheming some of the short yardage things, right? The jet sweeps. There's just a lot of things happening that can throw a defense off. 3rd and long, the defense knows you're passing. And this is people like, oh, you're hating on Cousins. No, this is a reality. Kirk Cousins is going to have a harder time than Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, guys with wheels or legs or crazy arm talent with different, they can drop down. When the defense knows you're going to pass, it's just harder as a quarterback. And Kirk doesn't have the mobility and some of the other things that other quarterbacks have to keep a play afloat. And so this has been a thing throughout his entire career. It's a little harder for him to convert 3rd and long than some of the other good quarterbacks in the NFL.
Until you put T.J. Hawkinson in the mix.
It'll make it easier.
Now it can become simple.
According to NFL GSIS, so on 3rd and 7 and more, so they have been in those situations. They have ran the ball only 5 times on 3rd and long, which is actually very good. But on passing plays, they have been in 3rd and long on 35 times. So 39 plays from 3rd and 7 on this season.
Look at you. Nice.
But to be honest, on 3rd and 8, they've been fine. On 3rd and 9, they've been fine. It's when they've been on 3rd, 10 and longer that it's obviously it's tough, right? Like it's been 3rd and 10, but they're on 3rd, 10 and more, they're 24th in the league.
And this all makes sense. It's this all makes sense because they just don't have deep threats. Again, it's the longer you have to go, the harder it's going to be for Kirk. So totally. So setting yourself up on 1st and 2nd down is the key to this offense, really. So there you go.
Speaking of O'Connell in Kirk, in the creativity of plays in the deep red and just plays like 3rd and 2 or so, or 4th and 2 or something like that. Do you guys think that there is in a vault somewhere at TCO, there is a package of 2-point conversions that they're not unveiling? Because he's running plays that are confusing. They're really good, but they're confusing to opponents. And it feels like those are plays that are designed for 2-point conversions a lot of times, but you're not going to unveil, you're not just going to do them now because then they're on film. Do you guys think there's a chance that, for key moments where you might really need 2 points, that he's got a package like that? Because I do.
Absolutely. Yep. It's some of the most creative stuff, the deep red stuff that we've seen. The deep red zone stuff.
And here's so here's a very nuanced small thing. And I know we think, well, but this guy could be used more, and they clearly don't. But it appears that a large part of the reason to date that they went out and made a pretty decent draft pick trade for Reagor was to get a guy who could do 2 things. One, return punts, which is important. But also, if you look at how he's used, it's a lot of gimmick stuff, but he's an important part to it. So
you have to account for him. The guy runs a 4.40.
Exactly.
He might not be able to run a route and catch a pass on 3rd and 12, but if it's 3rd and goal from the 4, and this happened on Sunday where it's 3rd and goal from the 4 or whatever it was, 2nd and goal, and they run Jalen Reagor in motion behind the line of scrimmage. He goes from right to left, and then before the ball snapped, he's going back left to right, and 2 defenders are kind of oh, we got to follow him. If we don't, he could get the ball and score a touchdown, right? And then all of a sudden, Dalvin Cook has an opening to get the ball and score a touchdown, where Jalen Reagor was before the ball was snapped. So
pretty good decoy.
Yes. So there's your state of the offense right there. Where 3rd down, Jekyll and Hyde, shooting yourself in the foot, which they don't do very often. Offensive success rate is on point, and the Colossus of Clutch continues his reign over the final 6 minutes of each half, the last year and a half or so. So there you have it. Boys, it's time now for the random Viking of the week on Purple Daily.
Oh, boy. All right.
This is the contest that people wait all week for. Declan and myself teaming up against the great Judd Zulgad in a battle of Vikings historical wits and trivia.
Yep. I love games.
I've got the reins this time around, and Declan will be stepping in, competing against Judd, who has a 38-20 lead on us all time, going back to the middle of 2021. And this edition of Random Viking of the Week is presented by our friends at Finch Home Solutions.
You know what? I wave the flag for the Vikings, right? But let me right now wave the flag for my friends at Finch Home Solutions, because, folks, I want to talk to you about preventing problems in your home. Preventing problems. Electrical work in your home should be preventative safety, so it shouldn't be too late, God forbid. It should be before things go wrong. For instance, flickering lights. Flickering lights are bad news. We might dismiss them and be like, oh, it's just a flickering light. Well, you know what? That could mean problems. Don't wait until something has gone wrong. Nope. Reach out to my friends at Finch Home Solutions, 612-357-2604, 357-2604, finchhomesolutions.com. And be sure to tell Cody and his team that you heard about this on PD, because they would like to know, and we especially appreciate all of our sponsors, but they would like to know, if you heard about us from our show, tell them special deals, by the way, if you do, for Purple Daily customers.
Heyo.
finchhomesolutions.com. Let's go.
All right. LFG here. LFG. I will throw out a series of clues. You guys get up to 3 incorrect answers each before you are eliminated. You could ask me questions I can refuse to answer if I want to. All right. This random Viking of the week I'm just going to give you a giant clue right off the bat here. Played college football at Syracuse. We're not going to pussyfoot around here anymore. We're just going to...
Oh, you're giving in to Declan, who came after you.
I'm changing my pitches.
Wow, he came after you 2 weeks ago, and now you're folding.
Yeah. One less pitch in the repertoire. Throw it down the gut, and maybe I'll hit it, or maybe I'll pop up. I don't know.
Played college football at Syracuse.
Can I ask a question?
Already?
Off of this? Yes, I've got a question. He played at Syracuse. I have a question. We did Kadri Ishmael, correct? Because he played college football at Syracuse.
We did do Kadri Ishmael, yes.
Because I think I got that.
There's a whole running tab of Phil's organized, unorganized thing of random Vikings of the week, Judd, because I wanted to know, too, in case we did Jeff George last week. So, yes, you're okay. We're tracking
Dex
all these.
has the master list as well.
Yeah.
See, I don't. You see, once again, I've been shut out. I can't get the button bar. I can't get sound effects. I can't get the master list.
All right, this random Viking of the week. His father was a reverend, Reverend Douglas. Douglas is the first name of his father, Reverend Douglas. I'm not going to give you the last name because obviously, be too much of a clue. This random Viking of the week was cut by the team that drafted him. Like that season, like before the season. So he was a 7th round draft pick. And his team said, not really feeling it in training camp or whatever.
Well, I do appreciate the clues thus far. I still feel like you're tracking. I mean, this is not
Oh, God.
simple. Sam Bradford was.
Okay. Despite that fact...
Do you have a guess, Dex? Yep.
No? You guys good? Okay.
I'm coughing by.
Despite that fact... that he was cut by the team that drafted him, he did join another team and was a Pro Football Writers Association all-rookie player that year. He made the PFWA all-rookie team with another team that didn't draft him.
But it wasn't the Vikings.
He was not a rookie with the Vikings.
Okay, so he gets cut after the draft as a 7th round pick. He joins a team. He actually has a really good rookie year.
Yep.
But yet his Viking career still has not started yet.
And then eventually he became a 4-time Pro Bowler. This random Viking of the week is, according to the internet, very passionate about fly fishing. Apparently this random Viking is a spokesman for the fly fishing industry.
I'll take a guess.
Okay.
Jared Allen?
It would have been sneaky of me to
Boise State.
throw out the obvious, but
Boise State.
It is. Yeah, he went. He did not play at
KC
Syracuse.
drafted him and kept him
Yep.
Okay.
until
I don't know
he
if
was
he's
falling out.
Yeah.
He went to culinary college, culinary school.
Great
Boise
launch
State,
pad.
or not Boise State. It was Idaho, wasn't it?
Idaho State.
Oh,
Yeah, I just saw it
oh,
on Twitter the other
That's
day.
right. You're right. You're
Random
right.
college
All the years
athlete.
of publicity
You're right.
that Idaho
Yeah.
could have gotten
And he
on
said
Sunday Night
culinary
Football.
college.
Instead, he went to culinary
Team that
college.
drafted him,
I'd be upset if I were them.
4-time Pro Bowl player.
Yep. All right, this random.
I need an era.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just talking
How
to myself.
demanding.
This
was talking to
random
myself.
Viking of the week
Sorry.
never scored a touchdown. Never scored a touchdown.
I don't even know what position he plays.
This random Viking of the week played for these NFL coaches. All right.
Okay.
Bill Cowher, Dennis Green, Mike Tice, Jeff Fisher, Steve Mariucci. How about this list? Ray Rhodes and Chuck Noll.
This is not, obviously, this is not in order of any sort, the coaches. It's just who he played for.
It is not in order.
Because Cowher, Noel. Oh, my God. So hold on. But he did not play for Mike Holmgren.
You did
No.
not say Mike Holmgren.
No, I know. I'm talking to myself now. I'm trying. After
Are
the
you questioning
Bradford
the clues?
debacle.
Are you questioning the
no.
clues?
After the Bradford debacle, I'm questioning myself. I'm still very upset with
Questioning
myself,
everything.
and I'm getting older too. So I'm just starting to go crazy.
Okay. This random Viking of the week was a two-sport athlete in college.
Probably play lacrosse.
It wasn't lacrosse.
That wasn't lacrosse. I'm guessing it's. I know what. I think I know the other sport, but I'm not going to say it because I puts Judd on the
You can ask. I'll let you ask. Oh,
track and
it's up to
field.
you.
Track and field.
Not track and field.
Okay, never mind.
Actually, this is a weird fact. This random Viking of the week actually lived in Canada during his final 2 seasons and would commute back and forth from Canada to play for his team.
Was he a Canadian native? Like, was he born in Canada?
He was not born in Canada.
I need side of the ball. I gotta have side of the ball here eventually.
I'll give you the second
Because
sport.
no touchdowns means nothing unless I know what side of the ball he's on.
The second sport was
Well, that's-
soccer.
Okay. Gary Anderson?
We have a guess. Yeah.
Let's go!
Oh, nice.
Yes, Gary Anderson.
Man, nice. Darn it. Nice
I
job.
thought he
guys.
was a fly fisher. That was the clue that honestly was putting me on. I was like, I think Gary Anderson's posted pictures about fly fishing. I'm dead serious.
Oh my God.
But then I needed more clues to back that up. I'm dead serious.
That's great. I thought that was just a throwaway clue, but I'm glad that it triggered something for you. He was also the last player to wear a 1-bar face mask. He was
Yes.
grandfathered in with the 1-bar
Yep.
face mask. So his last 2 years, the Tennessee Titans kicker got hurt twice, and they would just fly him in from Canada to kick in the games. I don't even know if he went to practice. He was like, I'm 45 and I have kids and live in Canada. They're like, we'll just come in for the games.
Right.
And if you can kick a 38-yarder, that's fine. And he's like, 38's a little tough for me. But maybe like 37 or 39. So Gary Anderson, one of the greatest kickers, maybe the greatest kicker in NFL history.
Yeah, not in these parts. He's not known as that, but yeah, that's very.
I don't know. I didn't know the Pro Bowl. I knew he was made at least one in '98 because he was perfect that year, but I didn't know it'd be 4.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
who cut him? Pittsburgh
the Bills.
or the Bills?
So Pittsburgh was his first
yeah.
team for
Okay.
God, no, 1982 through the mid 90s.
I had no idea. I didn't remember that.
And then he got to the Vikings in 1998, I think, and then he was perfect. He was the only kicker to ever be perfect as a field goal kicker and extra points in 1998 until the one miss in the 98 championship game.
That's the clip. Summerall hasn't missed all year.
Hasn't missed all year.
Stands the reason he won't miss here.
Wide left.
And he missed.
Man, Well, congratulations to Declan on
There you go,
his
Dex.
hard-fought victory. It's now 3 wins out of the last 4 for me and Declan. We got Judd on the ropes here.
Yeah.
That edition of Random Viking of the Week also presented by Federated Mutual Insurance Company. They've been around almost as long as Gary Anderson, helping businesses. Actually, they've been around longer, for over 100 years. Helping businesses maximize their level of success through risk management, tools and resources you can find at federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. So, okay, there we go. We got a new Kirk, comfortable Kirk. He's daggering teams late in halves. And you guys can always send in your comments for tomorrow's Feedback Friday through the Score North app. And also, we're always perusing the YouTube comment section as well. And we'd love to see as many of you as possible over at First Round inside Mall of America on Sunday for the Purple Daily Surly Watch Party. See you guys.